Welcome to all the participants for this particular session on meat and fish poultry products. We are grant welcome to our chief guest, Ms. Gauri Madam, as well as our principal, Professor A.S. Danisa, and our organization team. It is requested to all the participants, please mute your mic during the session, as well as switch off your camera, which is the side, left hand side of the mic button for particular remaining session. Okay, I will be hand over this session to Ms. Jaya Damdar Madam to continue the session forward.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Myself Jaya Zamdar. Today we are connected here on the occasion of webinar entitled Processing of Meat and Poultry Products. First, I welcome our today's guest speaker, Gauri ma'am, and all my dear participants who are present here on behalf of Dadasaheb Mokashi College of Food Technology, Rajmachi, Karad, District Satara. Here, I request all to keep yourself mute and any query regarding the session should ask in chat box only, where after completion of lecture, ma'am will answers you. Now, first I request our principal, Professor A.S. Dhane sir, for welcome speech. Sir, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Can I start?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Jamdar Madam and the organizing team. Good afternoon and warm welcome to honorable organization members, faculties, academicians, students, research scholars, etc., who have taken an interest to join our organization through online platform on the occasion of today's webinar on processing of meat and poultry products by respected guest speaker, Mrs. Gauri Patil ma'am. It is great honor to me to introduce one of the wholehearted person from common farmers family and rural background. He had set an positive impact by his uncommon and extraordinary deeds on the society and in rural soil, by his dedicated contribution in the field of professional, that is technical education and social linkage by presenting various social establishments. The man of far-sighted vision with future scenario, the person with forecasted sense, burning desire to uplift living standards of Annadata, that is farmer, with strong willpower to provide lower as well as higher professional and technical education to rural youth, that is students, main stakeholders of not only our organization, but to our nation and the whole universe, so as to make them more technically confident and more competent professionally to serve or enter in the corporate world of agriculture and the food business. Besides Atiti Deva Bhava, that is tradition of our Indian culture, the man who used the new saying, that is Krushi Deva Bhava, with plan and proper vision, the name of such a great planner, inspirator to all of us is late Sri Bhagwan Rao Ramchandra Mokashi, alias Dadasaheb Mokashi, who established the Mokashi Krushi Vikas Pratishthan, that for today's webinar that we have joined with in 1998, having objective in making of Vikas or development of Krishi through platform of Mokashi Pratishthan. He structured, planned and constructed it well for long-lasting future. Unfortunately, passed away in 2005, but today the progress, growth and success of Mokashi Krishi Vikas Pratishthan and all educational streams are reaching new heights in the corporate world, and the branding throughout the area so elegantly due to the new powerful and vibrant force of organization by emotionally healthy backup of President Dadasaheb, full-hearted and thoughtful General Secretary Sri Abhijit Sahib, enchanting and dynamic Vice President Dr. Mokash Sahib, evergreen counselor, motivator, supporters, director, Sri Vilas Chaudhary Sahib. I have to convey my sincere thanks to all our respected management for believing and trusting me to share few words. We are not money makers, but we are imparting a knowledge technically, professionally to our students and society so that they can be a money makers. Dadasaheb has set such a strong system at the platform that we all, the employee, are uniquely bonded together by a perfect and solid adhesive called Mokashi Krishi Vikas Pratishthan. I want to convey my sincere thanks to all our respected management, respected today's guest speaker, Mrs. Gauri Patil ma'am, for believing and giving me a chance to represent our Mokashi Krishi Vikas Pratishthan and the rest of the Dadasaheb Mokashi College of Food Technology rest units. For sharing me few words, thanks to all organizers, persons involved in organizing such a nice and online webinar in the first time platform of the Mokashi Krishi Vikas Pratishthan for their dedicated hard work since 1 month. Thanks to all for today's webinar and our guest speaker, Mrs. Gauri Patil ma'am. Thanks once again and best of luck for the next session ahead. Thank you, Zamdar madam and the Shamsher Patil madam, organizers. I am switching the microphone next to you for the next proceedings. Thank you very much and all the best once again. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Dani, sir. I would like to introduce our chief guest by Mrs. Damdar.
Okay, thank you, sir. Gauri ma'am is currently working as a secretary for AFSTI Pune chapter. She did his MSc in Food Science and Nutrition from SNDT Pune and then MBA from Shivaji University Kolhapur. She has qualified both UGC NET and SET exams. Now she also registered for PhD in SNDT Mumbai. She has 8 years experience in various teaching institutes where she worked as a founder member also. Overall, she is a very active person. You will find her on his YouTube channel, Food Facts by Gauri. Thus, we are very lucky to have such a great person with us today. Okay, without any further delaying, I request Gauri ma'am to start this session. Ma'am, please.
Good afternoon to one and all. First of all, I would like to thank Mokashi College and Principal Sir Dhani Sir for giving me this opportunity, and organizers Joya Ma'am and Samshir Sir for organizing such a wonderful program. Without delaying, I would start the program. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Huh. Okay, I'll start now, sir. Okay.
Yes. Go ahead.
So this today's program, you all know about that. Today's program is on processing of meat and poultry products. So in this presentation, we are going to cover these points: Indian meat industry status, quality of meat, grading of meat, processed products of meat, processed products of poultry. So first point, it is about Indian meat industry status. This first graph represents production of meat all over the India. From 2004 to 5 till 1819, the rate of production of meat in India is found to be increasing. In last year, it was about 8.1 million tons. Then the second graph is about species-wide meat contribution in 1819. Majority of our population consumes poultry meat, followed by buffalo meat, goat meat, sheep meat, pig meat, and other cattle meat. This graph is about annual growth rate of meat production. Here we can see a little bit unstable graph. This graph is a little bit unstable, but in 1819, the growth rate is found to increase by 6%. And in this graph, we can see percentage share of 15 major meat producing states in 2018-19. Top meat producing states are Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, and Telangana. So, Indian meat processing industry, there is a very little processing, hardly only 1% of total meat produced is being processed, and remaining is consumed or sold in fresh or frozen form. Mostly pork and poultry meat is consumed in the form of ham, sausages, patties, etc. We will study in detail about these terms in next few slides. The meat processors like Venky's Alchemist Foods, Darshan Foods, government bacon factories, etc., produce these products. And some other ruminant animals like sheep, goat are mostly used for processing of few preserved products and traditional kebabs. Buffalo meat is basically used in the household for preparation of curries and kebabs. Okay, so total quality of meat is categorized into two factors, that is functional quality and conformance quality. What is functional quality? It is actually desirable attributes in a product. Means what? The consumer's point of view, flavor, color, or this thing, taste of product is termed as functional quality, and conformance quality is a producing a product that meets the consumer specifications exactly. Means what? The meat size or shape of specific proportion or a specific part of meat is required by consumer, like wings or drumsticks or ribs. These are required by consumers. So both these factors are very important. Only one cannot define total quality. If if customer requires wings, it should have a good flavor and color also. Without that, the total quality cannot be completed. Then is the major components of meat quality. These are the components which are uh, which are very important from quality point of view. These include yield and gross composition, appearance and technological characteristics, palatability, wholesomeness, and ethical quality. Yield and gross is actually related to directly to profit. See, the quality is different from different people's point of view, because for consumer, quality means flavorful and good color meat. But from producer's point of view, the yield is important. From processor's point of view, it's other qualities like lean to fat ratio or other parameters like water holding capacity. These are very important. So, from who is the person or the category, this thing, the ambition or aim for which that product is to be used, according to that, meat quality is different for every person. So relative profit is directly related to higher proportion of carcass in relation to the weight of the animal. Sometimes what happens, ratio of fat to lean is very important. Fat means what? There are fatty tissues, and lean is what? um, Proteinous muscle fibers. Lean is rich in proteins and less in fat, whereas fatty tissue contains higher amount of fat. So in some products, fat and lean ratio should be considered, and if there are some health conscious people, to them fat lean ratio is should be higher. Means fat percentage should be lesser as compared to lean one. So if producer has to maintain this balance or this ratio, if fat is excess, he has to remove that fat, and that can be lost to him. Then muscle size and shape. Muscles which are globular and plumpy, which are mainly acceptable by consumer, and if the such kind of muscles are generally acceptable by consumer or desirable to the consumer, and if the muscles are flat or fibrous, they are generally not accepted by the consumer. Second one is appearance and technological characteristics. Fat even though it is not considered good for your health sometimes, but it has very important role to play in flavor of meat. Amount of marbling in lean. That means in this picture you can see there are lean tissues, intramuscular fat deposition is there, which appears as a white lines, and that gives marble like meat, and that is called as marbling. And this marbling characteristic is very important from a customer's acceptance point of view. So after that, color and water holding capacity. Mainly from customer's point of view, appearance is the very important criteria from which customer can judge the quality of meat, which mainly includes color and odor of the meat, right? Because in some products we can check its texture, or like freshness of fruit can be checked from its uh, uh, this thing, its freshness or toughness, right? We consider it as a fresh fruits. But in case of meat, we cannot do such kind of analysis. We just have to depend on its appearance. So color should be bright red or pink, but it should not be brown, gray or purple in color. Then water holding capacity of meat, it is very important criteria. If meat has less water holding capacity, means its ability to hold the water. So if it loses water, it leads to seepage of water during storage, or this thing during processing, right? So that happens. If that water seeps down, with that water nutrients are also lost. Then there is a weight loss also, which directly uh, relates to loss of yield also. Then less juiciness. If during cooking water is not retained by meat, then it leads to fibrous and less juicy meat, which is not good, or which is not desirable property, right? Then third one is the palatability. From palatability means what? It is eating ability of the meat. So palatability generally considers three this thing parameters: texture and tenderness, juiciness, and flavor. So generally, texture and tenderness is mainly decided by water holding capacity and juiciness also. Flavor and odor are generally related to each other. If meat is spoiled, its odor changes, and mainly it is determined by water soluble constituents, odor by fat soluble volatile elements. The next factor is wholesomeness. Right. The wholesomeness of meat has two components. First, meat should be safe to eat, both in terms of freedom from parasites that may also infect humans, and microbiological pathogens and hazardous chemicals. So microbial and chemical safety should be there. Then secondly, it people would prefer meat if it is positively beneficial to their health in contributing minerals, vitamins, and high value proteins. Sometimes essential fatty acids like eicosapentaenoic acid (EPA) or docosahexaenoic acid, that is DHA, are there in meat, which will improve the nutritional quality of meat. Then last one is the ethical quality. Ethical quality means what? There is some people have concern about how the animal has been bred, reared, handled, and slaughtered in ways that promote their welfare and in systems which are sustainable and environmental friendly. So that animal has to be processed in very ethical way. Then only people prefer such kind of meat. So this all fine points are covered under quality of meat. Then next one is Indian meat grading system. Okay, in India, carcass grading system is based on guidelines provided by Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India, and it is known as raw meat, chilled or frozen grading and marking rules. though there are other rules, like FSSA also has given microbial parameters in for judging the quality of meat, but the grading has been given very finely and explained very finely. Guidelines have been formulated in this particular rules. Then it is done, the inspection and grading of meat should be done in authorized premises and according to the instructions and issued time to time by the agriculture marketing advisor. And this is done by inspecting officer who is trained personnel in this particular subject. Carcasses of each species and grade shall be hung separately in a straight line at least 20 centimeters above the floor. Then the sides of the carcasses shall not be touching each other or the side walls, because there should be sufficient distance from each other to enable the inspecting officer to walk around and have a clear view about the conformation, finish, and color of the meat, so that he can come to know about the quality of meat and he can grade that meat properly. So in this particular guideline, just a minute, in this particular guideline, it is divided into 4 schedules, which is specific for specific type of meat. First schedule is given for buffalo meat. Second one is for buffalo calf meat veal. Third one is for mutton. Fourth one is for minced meat, that is keema. And each schedule is divided into general and special category. So before looking into this marking grading system, we have to we should know some terminologies, and these are explained under here. First one is the carcass. It means the dead or slaughtered body or any part thereof, including viscera of any animal which has been slaughtered according to the contracted method in an approved slaughterhouse. This is called as carcass. So what is buffalo meat? Buffalo carcass means the meat which is obtained from buffalo which ages more than 12 months. Second is buffalo calf meat or veal. It is a carcass of buffalo which ages 4 months to 12 months. Then mutton, it is a meat or carcass obtained from sheep or cubes or cuts which ages more than 9 months. And chevron is nothing but the goat carcass cuts or cubes which ages more than 9 months. So these are the definitions. With this, we will look into different schedules given in this system. So first schedule is given for buffalo, beef or meat. Okay. So in general category, we'll just read this and understand what it says. Buffalo meat shall be obtained from healthy animals and slaughtered in slaughterhouses. The animals shall be subjected to ante-mortem and post-mortem inspection. What is ante-mortem? It means the inspection which is done before slaughtering of animal. Means we should understand, we should check whether that animal is healthy or whether it is infected with any kind of disease, whether it is suffering from any disease. These everything should be checked before slaughtering, and this inspection is called as ante-mortem. And the post-mortem inspection means what? It is done after slaughtering, means internal organs and condition inside is checked once slaughtering is done. That is called as post-mortem inspection. And this is done by veterinarians designed and or of recognized local agency in respective states by the agriculture marketing advisor, and it shall not be treated with colors, dyes, additives, preservatives and chemicals. So any kind of additive should not be added to this meat. It should be in pure form. Then in special type, there are like types have been formulated, which depends on whether it is fresh or chilled or with bone or boneless. These are the types formulated. And in grades, if the meat is graded, it should conform to these given criteria. These criteria are divided into two. First one is the special characteristics, and second is bacteriological standards. So in special characteristics, we have to check whether the meat is in good condition, good texture, its color, it should be free from any tears or lacerations. Lacerations means any cuts should not have any cuts, or discoloration should not be there. It should be firm in consistency. Then it should not have more amount of connective tissues. Then it should be free from bone pieces, wood dust, metal pieces, and it should be free from any undesirable matter. And in bacteriological standards, it is checked for total plate count (TPC), and it should not have more than 10 microorganisms per gram. E. coli, which should not be more than 100 per gram. E. coli is waterborne pathogenic bacteria microorganism, so it should not be more than 100 per gram. And salmonella, which is again pathogenic bacteria, it should be totally absent in the meat. So these are the bacteriological standards. If the meat shows all these parameters, then only it is considered as of good quality or graded meat. Now, second one is the Schedule 2. This Schedule 2 is for buffalo calf veal. Okay, so this it's just like first one. In this also, the general guidelines are same only. Just special guidelines there are some differences, and in bacteriological microorganisms count is different. Otherwise, everything should be same. Then in third schedule is mainly for meat or mutton, not meat. Meat is a very general term. It is for mutton. And in this also, general guidelines are same only, but in special, instead of beef or beef, here there is a mutton. And in bacteriological standards, only few changes are there. Otherwise, everything is same. And last schedule, fourth one, is for meat, keema, minced meat or keema. As there is no bone, it's just a minced boneless meat, keema means. So there are no special types in this particular section. And in grades also, few changes are there. Like in special characteristics, it should be free from blood, clots, bones, and bone pieces. It should not show any traces of decomposition, decolorization, or malodor. It should be bright in color and uniform in grains. And few changes are in case of bacteriological standards. Otherwise, you can easily read it and understand. So here we complete Indian meat grading system. Next part is about where it's an interesting part, that is processed meat products or processed products of meat. So in this presentation, I'm going to cover these products. First is refrigerated meat, frozen meat, then cured meat, smoked meat, canned meat, dehydrated meat, and sausages. All these products I'll try to complete in given time. So first one is refrigerated meat. Okay, so this type of meat is very commonly used, or this method is very commonly used method for the preservation of meat. As at low temperature, microorganisms are growth is reduced at 2 to 5 degrees Celsius. Microbial growth rate is reduced, and therefore it reduces spoilage rate also. As you all know that meat is perishable food product, and it requires to be refrigerated, otherwise it spoils. So at room temperature, the growth of microorganisms is very high, and when we store it as refrigerated temperature, their growth is reduced, and therefore the shelf life can be extended to few days. Carcasses are first hanged in chilled coolers to remove their body heat, and then after that they are cooled to 5 degrees Celsius. There should be sufficient distance between carcasses because it will allow uniform air circulation, and it will cool each particular tissue properly to uniform temperature. This can be done by two techniques: immersion chilling, in which product is immersed directly in chilled water at 4 degrees Celsius, and second one is air chilling, in under which the uh, chilled air is blown on the carcass. Then refrigeration of meat begins with the chilling of animal carcass and continues before the ultimate use. So once meat is refrigerated, it is continuously or it is the low temperature is maintained throughout till it reaches to consumer. Just before preparation, like in processing, then storage, transportation, everywhere low temperature is maintained until it reaches to customer. The relative humidity is also important. It should be 90% because low humidity will make the meat to shrink, and if humidity is more than 90%, it will absorb water and therefore spoilage rate will also increase, because you all know that if water a percentage is higher, microbial growth is higher, so it chances of spoilage increases due to high relative humidity. Other factors which influences storage life of meat is species of origin. What type of meat is that? Initial microbial load. Of course, if meat is not handled hygienically from earlier stages, it will increase microbial load, and hence the microbial load will be higher in the final product and shelf life will be lesser. Then packaging, of how packaging is done, then temperature at which meat is refrigerated, and relative humidity. These all factors influence storage life. Now the psychrophilic microorganisms. What are psychrophilic microorganisms? Microorganisms which grow at the temperature range of 0 to 20 degrees Celsius. Their optimum temperature growth takes place at around 0 to 15. So even if the meat is refrigerated at low temperature, these psychrophilic bacteria are active and they can cause spoilage, and therefore this meat can store up to 5 to 7 days only at 4 degrees Celsius. So this is about refrigerated meat. Second one is frozen meat. This is the ideal method. This is the ideal method, and meat contains about 50 to 75% water by weight, most of which is converted into ice. See what happens in freezing. Say 50 to 75% water is completely converted into ice, and as there is a ice, microorganisms cannot utilize that ice for their growth. They require water, liquid state, which is required by their growth, and as it is converted into ice, it cannot be utilized and they remain inactive, or their growth is inhibited. Or it also stops microbial load and retards action of enzymes. Enzyme action is also retarded, so spoilage is very much inhibited. Then retention of most of the nutritive values. See, there is in frozen meat, very less loss of nutritive value takes place. The main loss takes place at the stage of thawing. What is thawing? Once, if the frozen meat is being used, before cooking, that meat has to be thawed. Means it has to be converted into room temperature, or its ice is completely allowed to melt. And during this melting, what happens? Water oozes out, and with that water some nutrients are lost, right? So this is the only chance where nutritive value is decreased in case of frozen meat. Next term is freezer burn. In the second picture, you can see the picture which is shown at the upper right corner is the freeze burn, means that piece is freeze burn. Means if the meat piece is exposed to very low temperature for long time, what happens? The pigments at the pigments gather at that specific area, and they are darkened. The oxidation takes place, and color becomes dark. It looks like burnt meat, and that can be prevented by packaging meat before freezing. Okay, if the packaging is done, it will prevent direct exposure of meat to very low temperature. Then freezing can be done by two techniques. First is slow freezing and second is fast freezing. In slow freezing, there is a large crystal formation which damages tissues, and in fast freezing, small ice crystals are formed which do not damage the tissues, okay, or which causes less damage to tissues. So fast freezing is generally acceptable or desirable. The microbial growth stops at -12 degrees Celsius, and total inhibition of cellular metabolism in animal tissues occurs below -18 degrees Celsius. So generally meat is frozen at this range of temperature only, and therefore microorganisms are inhibited. Spoilage can occur due to enzymatic reaction, oxidative rancidity, and ice crystallization. About 60% of the viable microbial population dies, but the remaining population gradually increases during frozen storage. So due to this 40% of microorganisms which are not killed or inhibited, they are responsible for further spoilage of meat. But still, this frozen meat can remain in good condition for about months or year also. Then third type is a cured meat. Okay, so cured meat is what? It is originally actually practiced as a method of meat preservation during the times of plenty. So earlier there was no refrigeration facility available. So at the time in the time of plenty, meat was being cured, means it was dry salt was applied and it was preserved so that it can be consumed in the days where meat is not when meat is not available. But nowadays, being refrigeration being common preservation technique, its use has been limited. But still, some meat products like ham and bacon, means thigh portion and sides of the pig respectively, are commonly cured meat products. Eventually, in addition to salt, earlier only salt was used for curing practice, but nowadays other ingredients like nitrates, nitrites, sugar, or in some instances other ingredients like acids, antioxidants, phosphates, sodium ascorbate, erythrobate, potassium sorbate are being used. Earlier there was importance for preservation, but nowadays flavor, color, and most importantly, yield is being considered. So very few types of cured meat is being prepared. Mainly cured meat has these three ingredients, mainly salt, sugar, and nitrates and nitrates. So salt, uh, minimum 2% to maximum 20% salt can be used. It mainly increases flavor, but along with that, it has preservative action by increasing osmotic pressure and decreasing water activity. It reduces, it can most of the microorganisms are inhibited because of high concentration of salt, but still some species like bacillus micrococcus are tolerant to high salt concentration, and they are called as halophilic bacteria. Okay, so second ingredient used is sugar. It also has various benefits or advantages. First of all, it binds moisture and therefore increases shelf life. It reduces water activity. It also enhances flavor and reduces harshness of salt. Third one is the nitrites. In sodium or potassium salts of nitrites are being used for in cured meats. It stabilizes red meat color, cured meat flavor. Then means it improves flavor of the meat. Along with that, it reduces rancidity and controls the anaerobic bacteria, that is mainly botulism. Botulinum, I mean. Botulism is the disease. Then nitrosamine is a carcinogenic compound which is produced by nitrites. So this is one drawback we can say of nitrites, because nitrosamine is formed, which is termed to be potential carcinogen. Then cured meat, generally the mixture consists of salt, sugar, nitrate, nitrite in the ratio of 8 is to 3 is to 2.75 is to 0.25. This is the normal commonly used formulation which is suitable for most of the cured meat. But curing methods are mainly, there are number of modified methods nowadays used, but combination of those all methods have been developed by combining these two fundamental procedures. First one is dry salt curing and second one is pickle curing. So in dry salt curing, dry salt is rubbed. The process may be repeated once we apply the salt, it is absorbed totally in the meat, and again another layer is given. So repeated salting is done. Sometimes joint can be held in salt mixture also. It takes about 7 to 10 days at 2.2 to 4 degrees Celsius. But it is rarely used commercial method. In second procedure, pickle cure means from name only you can come to know that it involves solution, means curing solution is prepared, and not the dry one, just like first method. Salt mixture at 60 to 65 degree salinometer is done for 5 to 7 days, means the concentration of brine solution is about 60 to 65 degree, which is measured by using instrument salinometer. It is followed by the application of dry salt mix on the surface of meat, and if the sweetness is liked, then sometimes sugar can also be added, which is called as sweet pickle. So these are basic two fundamental procedures, but with different modifications, other methods like dry salting or conventional dry curing, then conventional pickle curing, artery pumping, stitch pumping, thermal hot cures, curing of specialty products can be prepared. Means these other products can also be methods can also be used, or they have been developed simultaneously. Now, fourth product is smoked meat. So, technique of preservation. This is a technique of preservation since long time, but chemical basis was a mystery. Means this process has been used. This technique has been used since very long time, but how it preserves meat, what chemicals are prepared, these were unknown earlier. But nowadays, it has been many researches have been taken place, and it is found that more than 200 number of compounds are found in smoke, and it has some compounds have bacteriostatic degradation products. Bacteriostatic means which reduces growth of bacteria. These are aldehyde, ketones, organic acids, phenols, etc. And it also imparts smoky flavor to the meat. Preservation of smoked meat is also due to surface dehydration, lowering of surface pH, and antioxidant property of smoke constituents. Now, curing and smoking are interrelated and often practiced together. See, generally cured meat is smoked, or smoked meat is early means first cured and then it is smoked. So these are interrelated methods. Now, smoked meat means for preparation of such kind of meat, coal smoke is produced by burning wood or sawdust. Either wood is used for burning or sawdust is used. What kind of woods are used? Oak, hickory, maple, or jumper wood. These woods are used as per the flavor desired. Means people of few countries or some countries prefer a specific specific kind of flavor. So that flavor can be imparted by use of using specific type of wood, right? So that wood is used. So what kind of wood is used for smoking, that will directly affect the flavor of final product. Generally, smoke can be prepared or generated by using two techniques. First is wood smoke and second is liquid smoke. In wood smoke, generally hard or soft wood is used. Soft wood like pine wood or hickory is excellent wood, or it is a famous one which will give characteristic flavor to the final product. But it is very rarely means pure wood is not mostly available. So sawdust of different woods is mixed, which is easy for burning and uh, easy to use. And nowadays, liquid smoke is also there in the market. If you search liquid smoke on Google, you will see different like brands preparing these type of smokes. Okay, so smoke generally generators is not required in case of this liquid smoke, and it is repeatable, means you get consistent quality every time you use the same kind of liquid smoke, which is not possible in case of wood smoke. Now, smoked meat can be prepared by using three types of smoking instruments. First one is the natural air circulation. in which natural ventilation occurs. Regulation of the air volume is controlled by opening or closing a series of dampers. I mean, we can control flow of air, but it is done naturally only. There is no specific provision like fan or something like that. Then the fire pit may be designed to use either uh, logs, sawdust, or combination of the two. Means it is suitable to use wood or sawdust also. Second one is the air conditioned or forced air. The first example I can tell you about is commonly used tandoor. We use generally tandoor bhatti, which is not mm, it is not supplied with fan or something like that. It is naturally natural air circulation is there. In second technique, air circulation is controlled by fan. So here uniform air movement is there and good temperature control can be kept, which is not possible in case of first one. Third is continuous. In continuous, there is like meat is continuously moving, and it means raw meat goes inside, raw or cured meat goes inside, and smoked meat comes from the end, means another side. So it is continuous one. As it's an automatic instrument, it requires less labor and better control of shrinkage, better these other parameters can be controlled properly like time, temperature, and relative humidity. But high output is there. Okay, means it is suitable only for higher amount of this thing products. It is not suitable for if you have meat. Now less raw materials. So this is now fifth product is canned meat. The canning process, you all know about canning. Generally, we study it in case of fruits and vegetables, Nicholas Appert and everything. So in canning, what happens? We put the product in can and then seal it and process it. Generally, we do it other way around. Means we process the product and then package it. But in canning, what happens? First product is packed and then processed, right? So the canning process involves placing food in cans or jar jars and heating them to a temperature that destroys pathogenic or spoilage causing microorganisms and enzymes also. As the cans or jars are sealed hermetically, means in absence of any kind of microorganisms, so these pathogenic or spoilage causing microorganisms or enzymes are controlled, and canned products can be stored for long time without refrigeration. They can remain in good condition for a longer period of time also. A chemical quality loss in taste, color, and amount of nutrients will slowly continue though. Even if they are preserved, some changes will take place during storage and it will spoil eventually. This is the process chart of canned meat. First of all, meat is prepared. Fresh, clean, deboned small pieces of meat is prepared. Second, it is pre-cooked to reduce volume, makes the flesh firmer, and it is filled into can. Generally, tin cans are used, and it is filled with liquid also around about like hot water or hot brine or hot oil is used. Then exhausting is done, means excessive air from the head space or in some species which is remaining in the can is it is removed in exhausting. It is sealed with the help of steamer machine. Then processing is done generally for most of the meat products. It is done at 115 to 121 degrees Celsius, and it is cooled by shoring the cold water, washed, and they are labeled. So this is canned meat. Next one is dehydrated meat. I guess we have only 2 minutes. Sir, can I extend it for about 5 to 7 minutes more?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes, definitely, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you so much. So dehydrated meat is generally prepared by two ways. Uh, Here I have given first method by freeze drying, and second one is the traditional method. In first method, freeze drying, what happens? First, meat is frozen. Frozen means water is converted into ice, and then it is subjected for sublimation. Means directly ice is converted into vapor without passing into water stage, which is called as sublimation. This gives very well, means very high quality product, and it is generally suited or useful in military ration expedition or space travel, and it is done under vacuum, and it can be converted into fresh one by rehydrating or reconstituting it with water at 90 to 95 degrees Celsius. In second technique, it generally does not give you product as superior as first one, but still it is a good way to preserve the meat at home scale. So meat preparation is first being done, means meat is prepared by removing bones and impurities. Then wet salting is done, means pickling is done. Then dry salting is done. Then reversion of meat pieces position, means what, the during dry salting, in layers of salt and meat pieces is formed, means alternate layers of salt and meat is arranged, and after some time, these piles can be rearranged. So it is kept for a few days, and then those pieces are washed to remove extra salt. Then it is sun dried and packed and stored. So this is another dehydrated type of meat, but it requires it first. Means first of all we do the salting, wet salting, dry salting, and the dehydration. So dehydrated meat is completed. Next one is sausages. This is very popular product, and fresh and high quality meat such as lamb, beef, pork, mutton, and poultry, also cuts from head and leftover cuts, may be used for processing of sausages. So in this method or in this product, generally salt, water, ice, means ice, curing agents, spices, and binding agents are used. So in salt, as we know, we have already seen it in curing. Salt acts as a preservative. It improves flavor, taste. Then it has higher water holding capacity, and most importantly, it extracts some proteins from the meat, which is important in case of sausages. Then ice assists in the process of mixing, and it helps salt to solubilize meat proteins. Curing agents like nitrates and nitrites, they inhibit microbial growth, color, and enhances flavor also. Other spices can also be added according to desire, and binders which promote fat and moisture retention. After that, how we'll see step by step how this sausages are processed. First of all, raw meat is prepared, means fresh or frozen high quality meat is taken, and generally 20% fat is ideal one in case of processing of sausage. If there is a less amount of fat, then extra fat can be added in the form of animal fats or vegetable oils also. So accordingly, it will give you, if 20% fat is there, it will give you good quality of product. Next step is grinding. Generally, lean portion means low fat and high protein portions are ground through 3 to 6 sieve, and fat trimmings, which is trimmed very finely, that is 3 to 9 And then in this stage also curing salts are added, and it is allowed to cure overnight at about 1 to 4 degrees Celsius. After that, mincing. In mincing, the ground mass is again minced to very fine particles. Here in this stage, maximum protein extraction takes place. Salt and protein brings about emulsion. See, what is emulsion? Emulsion means uh, proper mixture, or oil and water are made miscible by using some emulsifiers. So here salt and protein acts as an emulsifier to mix together oil and fat portion of the meat. Otherwise, what happens? If these two separates out, it is not acceptable or desirable in case of sausages. Temperature should be less than 18 degrees Celsius throughout mincing. Next step is filling. Filling is done under vacuum. Then temperature should not be more than 2%, and these sausages are filled into casings. Casings are natural or artificial. Natural means intestines of pork, or some animals are used for filling of these sausages. And artificially casings are made by using collagen or cellulose. So these have benefits like it shapes sausages, then increases shelf life, and also prevents product loss during cooking. Then cooking is done by various techniques like immersion in cooking vat, hot water shower, hot water showering with smoking, dry heat, and cooking in tight boxes. But whatever method is used for cooking, ultimately the temperature, internal temperature of sausage should be 68 degrees Celsius. It should not be less than that. Otherwise, it will remain uncooked and it will spoil eventually. And then last stage is cooling and packaging. In this, cooked sausages are cooled by showering or soaking in cold water at 38 to 40 °F, and it is generally after that casings are removed and it is cooled to 4 °F. Packaging is done generally, of course, packaging is done to prevent microbial contamination as well as physical and chemical changes. But sometimes it is vacuum packed, which will prevent or which will enhance shelf life to greater extent because of vacuum. And oxidation can be removed and rancidity development can also be prevented. There are a lot of types of sausages available in the market, but here I have only listed 4 types: fresh sausage, fermented sausage, smoked pre-cooked sausage, and emulsion type sausages. Okay, so and you can find many other types of sausages. The last slide is of processed products of poultry. Generally, whatever products we have studied in the meat section are these all techniques can be used to preserve poultry, or poultry products are also prepared by those techniques. Say, for example, refrigeration, freezing, smoking, curing, any kind of product you take, all those products can be prepared by using poultry and not only meat. So here I have summarized few products, like I have tried to summarize all those products in this chart. First is traditional product forms, which includes fresh, chilled, or whole birds, cut up parts, or deboned meat, commodity based products. Or second is whole bird, that can come also in the form of fresh, frozen, smoked, or cooked, or ready to meat. Parts, different parts are also available in case of poultry. Poultry, sorry, I forgot to explain. Poultry is what meat which is obtained by from birds, right? Birds, any birds, like say for turkey or this thing hen, these all comes under poultry. The parts are like wings. These are the parts which can be sold raw, frozen, partially cooked, or fully cooked form. Then next one is the skinless or boneless meat. Here parts like directly they can be sold in parts, or they can also be frozen, like individually cooked frozen parts, and they are generally suitable for restaurants, and or it can also be used at home scale also. Then formulated products like marinated, battered, breaded, pre-fried nuggets, fingers, patties, wings. See, these products are generally used in fast food chains or restaurants like McD or Domino's. These restaurant chain of restaurants use such kind of products because they have to prepare the product in very less time. So they use such formulated products which will save their time. And last one is the ready to eat foods, which includes kebab, tandoori, and pizza, or anything you can take, smoked meat or cured meat. These are also examples of ready to eat foods. So thank you so much once again to the organizers and participants, of course. Thank you.
I am leaving this particular message to Ms. Jamale Madam. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. I deem it a
great honor to propose the vote of thanks to all who have helped us in making this webinar successful. First of all, I would like to propose hearty vote of thanks to our guest speaker, Gauri Patil Madam, for gracing today's webinar. Thank you, Madam, for your guidance and sharing most valuable information related to processing of meat and poultry products, which is definitely beneficial for our participants, students, and us. Then I would like to thank all our participants, students from various states, institutes who have participated in large number and make this event successful. Next, I would like to express
Certificate
our
name and
profound gratitude to our President, Jayashree Mokashi ma'am, Vice President Dr. Viswajit sir, and General Secretary Abhijit sir for giving us permission to arrange this webinar. Then I would like to thank our beloved Director Chaudhary sir, who always encourage us, support us for such activities. I would like to thank our principal Professor Rani sir, for his valuable direction. Then I am very grateful to all teaching and non-teaching faculty who have given support to make this program successful. At last, we apologize for inconvenience due to internet problem. Once again, thank you all of you, and now I declare today's section get over. One thing, all participants will get feedback link with certificate on your mail ID within 8 days. Thank you so much.